Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Brett.
Hey guys, I'm Brandon.
Welcome to Pitch Pass Podcast. Welcome to part one of our off-season special. This is part one of a two-part episode, special episode, and this will be our first YouTube upload. So, if you're tuning in, congratulations, and also thank you for being here.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming to our inaugural YouTube episode. Please like and subscribe to keep watching more of our videos going forward. We are both really excited to get into this. This has probably been the craziest NFL offseason that I've been through since I've been watching the league.
Oh
It is
yeah,
insane.
yeah. I think that this next season has the potential to be the best NFL season of our lives for sure. Up at least up until this point, but definitely there's been so much that's happened. We've kind of been waiting and like gathering our thoughts, but every time we kind of get something together that we wanted to talk about, just more stuff keeps happening. So um, even
It was
on
like literally
weekends, midnight, anything, you just get a ping from Twitter, and it's like, no beeping way, dude. That's crazy.
I remember we literally had like a couple hours span to where we didn't know whether or not like Deshaun Watson was going to go home to Atlanta, if he was going to go to
I
Carolina.
know. Yeah.
There was there was a point where Cleveland was out of it, then back into it. There there was just so many moving parts this offseason. And
Yeah.
I feel like the real thing that kicked it off was the Colts just saying fuck it and trading Carson Wentz. They
Well,
said
I
we
think it
go
was
no.
Tom Brady's fake retirement had a large portion in the start of all of this.
Yeah, okay. If Adam Schefter does not break that story on Tom Brady too early and lets Tom announce it himself, that motherfucker is sitting with Giselle and the kids.
Yeah.
Carpooling ain't that bad when you rich.
Yeah, it's not bad when you're carpooling in a Lambo or something, you know.
Fuck, that man has enough Bitcoin. I bet he just shits out Teslas at this point. I don't know. Like it's just
Um,
I no slander on Tom Brady. Super
True.
successful, great
True.
businessman. I think when he's done playing, he'll make way more money than he did when he was playing.
Oh yeah, for sure. And one of the hardest workers, if not the hardest worker in the NFL that we've ever seen.
Yeah, his work ethic on and off the field for
Unmatched.
like getting ready and prepared for the game. Like the only person that even comes close is probably Jerry Rice.
And
That's about it.
a lot of things like have happened, you know, like with the crypto and with everything that like have generated him a lot of revenue, but he's always
Mhm.
been the guy that signs the team friendly deals. He's always been for the benefit of the team. A lot of these guys are looking to make a buck or doing whatever, but like even after having so many rings, he obviously he wants to win, but he's never been like you need to pay me this amount, you know. He's never been in it for the money, and you know it definitely helps when your wife makes a shit ton of money too. But
Oh yeah, Giselle's net worth is, I'm pretty sure, still more than Tom's.
yeah, it is. It might change pretty soon with the crypto, but you
Yeah,
never know.
that part might change. But man, what a great career Tom Brady is still continuing to have.
True.
And the put upon that point that you say more, such a team guy. All those Super Bowls, never took all the credit on himself.
Mm-hmm.
Always would give it to teammates and coaches and staff.
Yep. Absolutely.
Just an absolute class act.
You
I can't wait for Twitter to fry me for calling Tom Brady a class act.
you ready to hop into this?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Now,
I think the last time that we recorded was directly before the Super Bowl, or maybe it was around Pro Bowl time. Yeah, so it was directly before the Super Bowl.
yeah,
Um,
I think we did a live stream reaction show right after the Super Bowl as well.
I know we at least talked. I don't remember if we did or not, but for our YouTube audience, I did have the Rams winning. I had Rams and Chiefs in the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season, um, so I was halfway right. Um, I believe I had the Chiefs beating the Rams in the Super Bowl, but you know, at least we were 50% right. Okay, you know,
Yeah.
maybe 25% because the Rams ended up winning, but
Mhm. And I had Cardinals, and I'm pretty sure I had Cardinals Bengals midway through the season as my bet to go to the Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
I was half right about that. And I did pivot pre-Super Bowl to saying the Bengals were gonna win that game, and it looked really good for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Uh,
So let's. Oh my goodness! I just noticed I was using the wrong microphone here. Let me.
all right.
There we go. That should be. Yeah, there we go. Now my audio is really loud. All right.
There you
Um,
go.
Sorry about that. I did change my microphone. It was using my old mic, which has a better sound quality, but it's a lot quieter. And with my fan on, it might have been too quiet.
Gotcha.
So the Rams, they made all of the moves that they really could last season.
Yeah.
They really kind of redefined what the meta is in terms of picks. Fuck them picks, man.
Fuck them picks. If and that new meta with fuck them picks is fuck not knowing the value of the pick.
True.
The Rams are essentially taking away the gamble of chasing the top end player on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
They're essentially getting rid of the risk of possibly getting a bust, and they're getting proven stars that they know how to use in their system,
And
that they
it's
know
worked
how to
out.
play.
Yeah.
And it's worked. They've won a Super Bowl doing it, and they've built a team that is pretty sustainable. They've done a great job with the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, but probably between them and the Saints are probably the best ones of working.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, the Bucks they did a damn good job.
The Bucks did a good job with the cap as
Yeah.
well. Um, but man, I don't
Shout
think.
out to the Giants, the cap masters.
Okay, the Giants are the worst team at using the cap space. They barely upgraded their team this past season.
You think they did?
Barely. I think Kenny Galladay is actually a decent wide receiver
Oh,
when he's
same.
healthy.
Yeah.
But
But giving him that
that's
much
about it.
money when Daniel Jones is your quarterback?
Okay. This is a hot take. This may be just because I think Brian Dable is a good coach. I
Okay.
think this is going to be very similar to when the Bills for like current regime first got there. I think the Giants have a shot of making the playoffs, maybe as a wild card or something.
Really?
Yeah, it's a hot take. Maybe
That's a blazing hot take.
because honestly, the skill position players on the Giants are really good.
They are pretty damn good. I agree with you there.
And also, Brian Daboll's one used Saquon more as a receiver, which honestly, with that offensive line, is probably the best way to get Saquon the ball in
Yeah,
space.
but you could just trade him to the Chiefs for like 2 of our picks. We'll give you a first round pick and a second round pick, and then we can just have Saquon.
For both teams, I really hope for the Chiefs they wouldn't give up a first and a second for Saquon Barkley.
Well, if you think about it, we're gonna be picking like 30th in the first round, so it's like an ass end of the first round pick.
Isn't that the same as when you guys drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire though?
Yeah, but
Just
it's
for a better
Saquon.
player.
It's
Saquon's
Saquon.
much better, but
Yeah,
I'm not giving up that much value for a player I need to re-sign next season.
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, if you restructure, if you renegotiate the contract, like if you can get him to sign an extension on a team-friendly deal, something like that. But
But I don't think they're going to trade Saquon, sadly. I think they're going to let it rock this year. I think they're going to try to compete. I think Brian Dable's going to see what that roster has,
mm-hmm.
and then they're going to gut it. They're going to
Yeah,
see what it has, what's worth keeping, and then they're going to retool it. And
yeah,
Daniel Jones is just the measuring stick for that roster, just like Tyrod Taylor was for the Bills that last season. Daniel
yeah,
Jones is good enough to show you what works on a roster, and that's all you need him to do.
yeah.
He he is the Tyrod Taylor, the Jared Goff of this situation.
It's
It's
unfortunate to hear.
is what it is, Danny Dimes. I'm
I
sorry that you look vaguely like a Manning.
I hope that I hope that we'll see.
anything decent out of Saquon in the future. I really hope he goes to a contender. I really hope that he has a good career because I love that dude. He seems like such a good guy. He's always had an insane work ethic. I fucking love Saquon. I hope that if he does for some reason resign with the Giants, because he seems like a loyal dude, I hope. Hey, settle down. I hope. I hope he goes somewhere that he can succeed. Even if it's just like putting up numbers that'll help him get like a Hall of Fame career. I would love that.
Oh,
I love
I,
Saquon.
I do too. And he's a family. He's a dad. He's a wife guy.
Yeah.
Good dude.
I
Good dude. And
he's a
killer.
generational talent.
Yeah, he really is. He has an overwhelming amount of talent. It's just
Give
keeping
that dude
him
an offensive line. Give him an offensive line. Please.
an offensive line, but that's easier said than done when you have no cap space.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna also say this: the Giants' offensive line, pre-Daniel Jones and injury, was playing better. I'm not gonna say good. I'm not gonna even say average. But better.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say
Was
like,
improved.
what's the difference between touching a hot stove versus putting your hand over a lighter? I mean, they're both gonna burn you, but one's just gonna suck a little less.
Yes, so it's essentially like jumping from the 30th ranked offensive line to like 26.
Yeah, that's really all it is. You're still gonna die,
Which,
but just less often.
yeah, you're just not going to get cracked in 5 yards in the backfield. You're going to at least get a yard before you start getting popped. Great.
So
But yeah, fuck them picks.
yeah, the Chiefs are not taking this mentality, but Brett Veach has
Well,
been an excellent like draft scouter assistant, whatever you want to call it. He has been excellent at finding elite talent in drafts.
and with Patrick Mahomes' contract, you need to build for the draft.
Well, I mean,
You
we've had there were a bunch of restructures in Kansas City. Frank Clark re-signed and restructured his contract to a much more team-friendly deal. Ronald Jones signed on a contract that had a $5 million upside, but some of the incentives that were contributing to the $5 million were unreachable incentives. So it was only like a $1.5 million cap hit.
yeah. and and of course, getting rid of Tyreek Hill's contract and that trade with Miami
Yup.
saved us room. And Juju Smith-Schuster's contract is not
Really
anything
affordable. Yeah.
super affordable, and Marquez Valdez-Scatling's contract is also affordable.
Yeah.
You guys are doing the smart thing, which the free agents you guys are signing are young free agents that are not very expensive.
True.
You guys are getting quality starters. You guys don't need to get star free agents because star free agents don't exist. Star players really don't hit the market.
Well, they do, but you know, only in Houston.
Only in Houston. So
Speaking of Houston, and speaking of other teams that aren't following the meta, what do we think that the Texans are gonna do with those picks that they got for Deshaun?
So the picks for Deshaun. So for this season, at the very least, they're not drafting a quarterback. They're going to rock
Yeah,
with Davis
Davis
Mills for.
Mills. He didn't do that bad last season. I was very impressed for Brandon Cooks being his only real weapon. I was fairly impressed with what he did.
Yeah, same. Davis Mills was honestly the best out of the rookie quarterbacks last year. The games where he played,
Yeah.
he played better than the other rookies. I think he had the most passing yards in a single game out of any of the rookies when he had over 300 yards multiple times.
Yep.
Like he was solid for portions of the season. It's just nothing there.
Yeah.
Houston just doesn't have a whole lot of talent on the offensive line. They are outside of Laramie Tunsil. Laramie Tunsil is a good left tackle. And like you said, the only receiver to really write home about is Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
So you can get some pieces to build around him. I think the Texans are in the best position in the draft to just go full BPA. You don't have to think that hard if you're the Texans when it's your turn to draft.
I don't think the
You
Texans ever think hard.
no, they only think about how the prisoners are running the jail.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry, prison. That was the quote. We
Yeah.
love, we love it.
We
No wonder Pop didn't care when he got traded.
yeah. Dude, can we talk about how Arizona was really becoming the Houston Texans like dream job?
Houston West,
Yeah.
Houston West.
Yeah.
Yeah, J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, and they just got
Yeah.
to go sign Jadeveon Clowney, and then they really are going to be Houston
You know
West.
what? I mean, if they had the cap
He's
space, I'm sure they would.
available. They don't.
Yeah.
The real shame about Arizona's situation right now is Kyler Murray's cap hit next year is $11 million, and they don't have more cap space than what they do.
Yeah. I think that
That's
they'll probably try to restructure some contract. I think that they really want to make it work. I think
I think
what they're going through right now is kind of that like that awkward first transitional phase of like, when you get into like a relationship with someone and you hit like a small bump in the road when you've never encountered that before and you're not really sure what to do. And if
mhm.
you think that they're being frustrating and if they think that you're being frustrating, you might see them as immature, they might see you as immature. So Kyler Murray being upset with how the front office is functioning is probably fair because they're probably not doing things to the best of their abilities, but like they brought him in several weapons. They brought in some really solid defensive pieces, and he really wasn't able to hold up his end of the bargain either. So it's really understandable that they would be frustrated with him underperforming in the playoff game. Um,
Yeah. I I will say it doesn't help that Kyler Murray doesn't seem like he can stay healthy for the full season.
it
Like when
doesn't help that he's 5 feet tall standing on a ladder.
he's okay, the hype really doesn't bother me that much. It's more for me. It's that he just doesn't play well when he's hurt, and it
Yeah,
happens
well, I mean, he's so small that
last 2 years.
yeah, exactly. I mean, he's not like built either. He's a very elusive guy for sure, but if you hit him and he likes to run, if you hit him, he's going to get injured more often than not. Um and
I
I love his upside. I love his ability. I thought he could have another MVP season, to be honest with you. I thought that he was playing really fantastic, but I agree with you. I don't think he can stay healthy
yeah, and I don't believe in Cliff Kingsbury as a play caller
at all.
for a full season either. Like
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, I think is a legitimate NFL quarterback. I think he's a top
Yeah.
10 quarterback.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I
Okay.
I legit think this is either they make a deep playoff run this year
Mm-hmm.
or Cliff is out the door.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Cliff is out the door. I really think that there are three playoff contending teams in that division. As we talked about earlier, if the Rams can manage to bring OBJ back, then I think that it's going to be kind of hard to beat the Rams, who signed Bobby Wagner too. I think that the Rams are going to be really fantastic running it back. Um, I know they lost a couple pieces, and those pieces are going to hurt, but they got a few things that might help them out. And I think that the 49ers, if Trey Lance is even functional, if their roster's healthy this year, they're going to make a deep run.
Yeah, the 49ers are in such a good spot that they really didn't lose very much in free agency.
Hmm.
I'm going to pull them up real quick and see. I know they have been kind of quiet during free agency.
I'm Kayla Burton with some breaking news.
Let's just not add that.
Um,
So I know they added Kerry Hyder to like make up for the loss of Arden Key,
hmm.
but that's kind of the biggest loss they've really had.
Yeah.
They got Ward from your Chiefs.
Yep.
They got Snead, sorry, from your Chiefs to go
Yep.
play on the outside, replace Mosley, and I think they're just gonna wait for the draft. Really, they don't really have cap space right now to really sign any big free agents
Yeah.
because Jimmy G is still looming on that roster with that $20 million cap hit,
Yeah.
which they have to just be holding out hope that someone eventually trades for him, right?
I think that
You're
somebody
just
probably
paying
will.
20 mil for a backup.
Yeah. I think that one of the teams. I think that the Rams meta is very very progressive in the modern NFL. Like if you look at teams like the Chargers and Raiders, they're definitely following the model where they're like, we'll trade what we have because we want success now. Um, and I think because the Chiefs have hosted, back-to-back AFC Championship games because they've been to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl recently because they've been that powerhouse in the AFC. The other teams in the division are like, you know what? Now is really our time to make the move, especially I think with Tyreek leaving. You see the Chargers and the Raiders, the moves that they made in the offseason. God, I don't even want to mention the Broncos, The
Yeah,
everything they've done in this recent time, they've been trading away their draft picks, their capital, and some of their undesirable contracts for things that will help make them better right now because they think that they have a genuine shot right now. Um, I don't think that the Bengals are going to make it back. I just think that they have too many holes. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I just think that this is really like the best, freest year for anyone in the AFC with firepower to just take their fucking shot.
yeah, I think the teams that are really going for it, like you just mentioned, it's the teams in your division.
Yeah.
The AFC West turned into an arms race as soon as Russell Wilson got traded to Denver.
Yep.
The arm race started. Russell Wilson got traded to Denver, which was a huge thing for them. Best quarterback they've had since Peyton Manning retired.
Oh, by far, yeah.
By far. Then as soon as that came out, Khalil Mack's traded from the Chicago Bears to the LA Chargers. Khalil Mack opposite of Joey Bosa. Big move. Then they go and sign J.C. Jackson. They finally have a number one outside corner.
Yeah.
Now that can possibly free up Derwin James more.
And
yeah, I don't know. Derwin James can man up Kelsey.
It's not just the AFC West though. I mean, if you look at the Dolphins with that wide receiver duo and their investment into Tua, re-signing Gesicki.
Well, franchise tagging Gesicki.
Well, they brought him back. That's what matters,
Bringing the bloated slot back.
Yeah. But I mean, shit, that's not the worst thing you could do when it's a cheapish contract and you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle out there.
Oh yeah, Gesicki is definitely gonna be that red zone target for them because the other guys just don't have much size. That's fine. Waddle and Hill are great deep threats. I think Tua. I think they're both gonna be great with Tua, even if Tua isn't great throwing the deep ball very often.
This is the Kansas City offense from 2020, right? But with a much less talented quarterback. And that's not a dig at Tua, okay? I believe wholeheartedly that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback in the past. I think that he will be greater than Aaron Rodgers by the end of his career. I think he's already kind of edging out that mark. And in terms of accuracy and skill as a quarterback, I'm not talking in terms of winning. I'm not talking in terms of leadership. I believe that he is the most talented quarterback that I have ever seen. I've watched a bunch of old clips. I've watched the Joe Montanas. I've watched the John Elway. Those dudes are fucking great. But I don't think that anybody is better than Mahomes.
All right. Hot take from a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, could you tell?
Yeah, I know. I definitely think it's kind of a similar. It's not going to be a similar offense, honestly, just because what they're going to run is going to be probably more similar to what we saw last year out of Kyle Shanahan's offense. This is going to be a brand new role for Tyreek Hill.
True.
Actually, if you want to see similar things that he's going to be doing in San Francisco, look at how he was used in Kansas City his rookie season. In his rookie year, that was when he was really used in the backfield a lot more. Some situations as a running back, he was used a lot in the return game. He was used on a lot of jet sweeps and motions, and he carried the ball a lot more during that season.
They said they want to use him like Debo.
Yeah, so that So he's going to be getting He's going to get touches in the run game. They're going to try to hand him off the ball in spots where people aren't going to see it coming. They're going to try to get him in space, give him yak opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Do you think
And
that
that is what Tua.
Oh,
I was going to say that Tua's going to do best. Tua, his strength is throwing balls in a spot to where guys can go and get a couple of extra yards after it.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
It's RPO quarterback.
I was going to say, do you think that he's going to adapt to actually having number 1, 2 receivers that can really get open? Because I watched some of the route running videos from this past season, and I was like, Tyreek Hill is so underrated as an improvisational route runner. Like, he'll start with a little in and out, and then he'll just do a spin move and just lose everybody because he can just run so much faster than everyone.
I was about to say, it helps when you run in the 4.2s. That's the thing. Tyreek Hill is the biggest weapon in the NFL when it comes to big plays.
Yep.
He is going to break off 20-yard plays a couple of times a game.
Yeah, I was going to say minimum of once a game. But
yeah, if you don't devote 2 players to taking him away, he's gonna do that. He's gonna eat. He's gonna get yardage.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw that versus the Bucks.
Like, you can't keep him one-on-one for very long.
Yeah.
You can do it for a couple of plays a game.
Yeah.
You can do it for a couple of plays, but you don't want to do it for very long.
Keep doing it, and you'll get torched for over 200 yards in a quarter.
Yeah. Nice.
But
I don't believe in the Dolphins' defense.
Yeah. I believe in their secondary a lot more than I believe in their line. I think teams are going to be able to run on them this year.
Yeah. And that's I think the Dolphins are going to find themselves in a bunch of shootouts, and it's going to be really fun to watch them play.
Yeah, except, when Tua's your quarterback in a shootout, you're going to...
Hey,
I'm not digging. I'm saying like he's going to have to take some of those deep shots, that he's not comfortable doing. He's going to have to adapt his play style a little bit. Yeah. And I know that the NFL kind of cracked the code with the too high safety thing, but like your team, you have Myles Gaskin. He is a damn good running back.
You have Raheem Mostert.
True.
And Chase Edmonds. True. They have a stable of good, fast running backs that can also contribute in the pass game.
Yep.
That are also great zone running backs. They're great in that zone system. They know how to read blocks. They have great vision. I think the run game is going to be good in Miami this year. The passing game is going to be built directly off that. We're going to still see a lot of RPOs. We see a lot of crossing routes. I really think the way this offense is going to be built, we're going to maybe see at most 3-4 deep shots a game.
Really?
I think that this coach is so smart. He understands his players, and I think he's going to understand that that's just not Tua's bread and butter.
Yeah,
that's just not his game. He was accurate throwing the deep ball last year. He just doesn't do it often.
Yeah. It's something that he's not comfortable with. Yeah.
And I think that's 100% it, is just comfort level. You need to get him comfortable throwing that ball because he can throw it. Like, he's capable.
Yeah.
Isn't like he has a noodle arm. I think a lot of people think his arm strength is lesser than what it is because he's left-handed.
Yeah.
I think if you legit do a flip mirror image of Tua playing quarterback,
yeah,
it looks like he's right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people would think a little bit better of him. Like, he legit... I think Tua's ceiling is Dak Prescott. I think he can get to the point where he's just as good as Dak.
I think he can go a little bit further. I think Dak definitely is going to have more comfort in throwing the deep ball. I think Dak just has a little more fire in him than Tua does.
Yeah, I think part of that comes from Tua was at Alabama his whole career, and Dak had to help build up a program at Mississippi State.
Oh, God, yeah.
I feel like experiences like that really are good for the quarterback position.
Oh, for sure.
Personally, I like trying to find a quarterback prospect that doesn't have everything.
Yep.
That sometimes things around him is an absolute shit show. Maybe not absolute. Maybe there's just small fires they has to put out every once in a while.
Yeah, it's like people that are able to take advantage of their situation without their situation being 3 5-star recruit receivers, you know,
Yeah,
something like that.
like oh yeah, like not having the best wide receiver trio in college football history.
Yeah, yeah,
And Mac Jones,
yeah,
and I guess also to a certain extent Justin Fields.
yeah. I don't think we're ever gonna get to see the best of Justin Fields, though. I think he's just not gonna develop in Chicago, and by the time he gets anywhere where he's able to develop, he's gonna have developed so many bad habits from just misuse. I just don't understand why they can't have an offense that's functional, you know?
Hey, this, this is their year to tank because they're loading up for cap space for next year, and
Yeah.
they are just going to tank this season and then hope they can sign a bunch of people because of the history of their franchise, not for the current modern day Chicago Bears, but hoping they can get people for the history and hopefully using the city itself as a draw for people to want to come there.
Yeah, right now, the entire franchise just has a sticker on it that says owned by Aaron Rodgers. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we own you. We own you, Chicago. I'm sorry. Your deep dish pizza is great, but your football team is trash. I stand by it. Deep dish pizza is fantastic, and Chicago Bears have not been good since the 80s.
Yeah. You
So,
ready to move on and talk about some of the signings going on?
yes, let's.
All right, let's so rather than talking about the free agents that are still available, we can do some of that. But I think one of the most important things that we need to talk about, and we won't have any commentary on the situation itself. The only
Mhm.
commentary we're going to have is going to be very professional about whether or not Deshaun will be able to play at the beginning of the season. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of people are saying that it's likely that Deshaun will be facing more legal or civil suits, or that there will be some progression of action taken against him. And that could very well be possible. I'm not a law student. I don't know specifically what will take place. I don't know where the cases are. There hasn't been a lot of information released about the situation to protect both the alleged victims and the integrity of the case itself. Um, so I guess the question arises that if Deshaun is unable to play in the beginning of the season, will Baker Mayfield be willing to play for the Browns?
I'm so happy that you took that sentence of it because you did that better than I would have. You're nicer than me.
Thanks. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
let's see. For the Baker Mayfield situation, I think if Deshaun is suspended to start the year, you start Baker. You 100% start Baker,
You
and
want to start Baker, but will Baker
yeah,
start for you?
yes, because the leverage is 100% in Cleveland's court. No one really wants to trade for Baker Mayfield right now. No one is going to want to really sign him, even if he hits free agency. This is his best chance to put some more good tape out there
Mm-hmm.
and for more NFL teams to get interested and possibly trading for you once Deshaun Watson comes back.
So I agree with that point, but I also disagree in a small way, and it's more so just like a divergence from what you said. Um, I think that there are teams that would definitely be interested in Baker Mayfield, the Steelers included, but I think that a lot of teams know that the Browns are going to be in kind of an awkward position because you don't want to be paying Baker's contract if you don't have to. Um,
Yep.
and if you are able to cut Baker, or if you're able to take it as like if you're able to cut that cap space free, if you can add more free agents to your team, to this roster that you're building, and obviously they're planning on having a future with Deshaun. That's why they restructured that disgusting contract. Um,
Yeah.
I think that they really want to get rid of Baker, but right now they're just not really sure with the pending situation whether or not they're going to have a starting quarterback. And they got rid of Case Keenum, and I don't know what quarterback they have outside of Baker and Deshaun, but I can imagine.
Jacoby Brissett.
Okay, well.
Oh, Brissett is 100% signed to be backup plan.
Yeah.
He is the backup plan if Baker doesn't want to play or is hurt and Deshaun is suspended.
So I think a lot of teams are just kind of waiting because they realize that, like, Baker doesn't want to play for them after they fucked him over. But Baker wants to play football for the people of Cleveland. You know, he doesn't want to play for that office. He doesn't want to play for that team that doesn't want him, that doesn't believe in him, that doesn't respect him. But he wants to prove himself, and he wants to go somewhere where he can prove himself. And I think that Baker Mayfield has an insanely high ceiling. He is just the most wildly
inconsistent.
Yeah, I guess that's probably the best word.
He's white Jameis Winston. Just not.
I think Jameis has more upside.
I think I agree with that.
even now.
That's why he's white Jameis Winston.
Yeah. Yeah. Jameis. I've seen. Speaking of, much love, prayers, and respect to the dude. I hope that his recovery is going well. I've seen some of his off-season workouts, and he looks fucking good. He is doing some inhuman shit. That dude is physically and mentally tough as shit.
I love Jameis Winston. I love his antics. He is funny.
30 and 30.
30 for 30 season. He plays like a heart monitor at a hospital. It's great.
Yep.
I am so happy he's never been my quarterback, will never be my quarterback for my team, because I would have a heart condition
the Carson
by the time I was 30.
But in a different way.
Exactly.
Carson Wentz effect, but with a much higher ceiling.
Yeah.
And a lower floor, but you know, it's the much higher ceiling is the much more emphasized part.
But let's get back to Baker.
Back to Baker.
Where I do have one place in mind that I think would be a really fun situation for Baker.
Okay.
And would probably help him hit a ceiling if he ends up there.
Pittsburgh?
No, Carolina. Carolina. Think about all the offensive skill position players they have there.
Mm-hmm.
Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, like
Robbie Anderson,
Marshall. Like, there's really good talent on this team.
Yeah.
Offensive line is an average line. That is all you need. You need the bare minimum just to have an average offensive line.
Well, do you think so? Because Baker's been playing with a top 3 offensive line, and he hasn't really shown us. If you listen to Skip Bayless, if you listen to all of these people, they'll talk about that 11-game stretch where Baker showed like a top 6 quarterback in the NFL. But like, consider what he has. He had Odell Beckham Jr. He had Austin Hooper. He had the two of the best. I would argue 2 of the best 10 easily, possibly 2 of the best 5 running backs in professional football. And you had Jarvis Landry, who's certainly not washed. He may not be what he used to be, but he's certainly not washed.
He's a serviceable wide receiver.
And they struggled to get a playoff win.
Now, granted, I agree with you. I think that's the best situation for Baker to possibly go to.
Yeah.
I think the odds of Baker, I think the top end what Baker can turn into is Derek Carr.
Yes.
Now, what are the odds of him actually hitting that?
It really he needs consistency, and he needs.
He does.
I can't tell you what he needs. I think what help him probably the most is he needs a safety net. He needs a tight end that is like Kelsey Kittle quality, or I don't think Carr has been a great quarterback. I think he's been one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL, and this year, not to get off topic again, but I think that Carr is really going to show that he is he's definitely a top man.
He's a top 12 guy.
Yeah.
He's a top 12.
I'd have him at 11 or 12.
I would take Derek Carr over Russell Wilson.
Really?
Derek Carr over a good amount of quarterbacks. You know why? Derek Carr will actually attack the middle of the field.
That is goddamn true. That is
Derek
so true.
Carr will attack every level of the field.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that with Russell Wilson.
Nope.
Russell Wilson is not good at attacking the middle of the field. Russell Wilson, a lot of times, looks really good on the broadcast angle.
Yeah.
But when you look at the film, he sometimes looks confused, like he doesn't know where he's going with the football.
What I like about Russell Wilson, though, over Derek Carr, and the reason that I have him ranked higher, he is not afraid to throw the deep ball. And it's not that Carr is afraid. I think that Wilson is just a little more talented at throwing the deep ball. And also, he's always been, like, shifty. He's always been shifty and mobile. He's not afraid to move around in the pocket and create time. And Carr is better at a fast release. But I feel like Russell Wilson's just better at creating a play or opening those opportunities rather than being able to force something across the middle.
I think what Russell Wilson is very good at and what he needs to do to keep his offenses going is by getting explosive plays in the passing game down the field and scrambling and getting more time, like you said. But those are not sustainable.
Yeah.
We saw it a lot in Seattle. Some of those plays, scrambling outside the pocket, it's great. It's going to cause a big play eventually. But he got sacked more than most quarterbacks in the NFL. Granted, his line, but he did not help it.
I was going to say, yeah, their offensive line was pretty shit.
Their offensive line was dog shit the majority of the time he was in Seattle. This is probably the best offensive line he's ever been behind.
Yeah.
And probably the best running back he's had since Marshawn Lynch with Javonte Williams.
Oh, yeah. Background. He is a young stud for sure.
He reminds me a lot of Marshawn.
Really?
Like it's kind of crazy. Their running styles very similar, like to where it takes multiple guys to bring them down. They both have kind of those wider strides, kind of like a wider base of running, which you don't really see very often in the NFL because it's not as easy to cut that way.
Yeah,
but you definitely have better balance.
Yeah, it's definitely better for forcing your way through situations, like being more powerful, for sure.
But man, I do really believe in Derek Carr as a quarterback. I think this past season really showed more for me from Derek Carr. I saw more in the deep passing game from him again that I haven't seen since 2014.
Yeah,
and I am excited to see what Josh McDaniels. I'm going to see him with an offensive coordinator a head coach who is also an offensive coordinator that caters his offense to his players in the offense. You saw it when he was at Denver. He tweaked the offense around what Tim Tebow did well, and they actually made the fucking playoffs with a guy that can't throw the football.
Yeah. He also doesn't seem like he's a shitty person either. So those are both good things.
No, he seems like a very good person.
He seems like a genuine dude, and I fuck
genuine
with that.
Dude. Definitely a guy that a lot of his teammates gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And I think I might just put it out there now. I think something in me is saying they're gonna represent the AFC.
You know,
I don't know what.
I can't blame you for saying that. I disagree with you for saying it, mostly because I'm a Chiefs fan and I have to. But I do think that the addition of Devontae Adams and everything that they've really done for that team.
Adding Chandler Jones to be instead of Max Crosby was sick.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it out loud. I'm still in denial.
I'm still in denial. What if they get Stephon Gilmore?
Oh God, please stop.
They're legit like a couple of dudes in the secondary away from being scary on defense.
I think they already are scary on defense, but
that Max Crosby had a great season last year.
Oh, he really, really did.
Last year, he had so many fucking pressures. It was insane.
Yeah.
And you can tell that dude is definitely been living that straight edge lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you used to be addicted to something and you just replace it with working on your craft,
With CTE, yeah.
that's exactly what it looks like.
No, I was just kidding. Yeah, absolutely. No, nothing but respect. To overcome addiction, which is something that, I am such a big mental health advocate. To overcome something and to find something that you're passionate about and to pursue that and to help other people. Well, didn't Darren Waller say that he was a big help too? If I not mistaken in that?
Yeah, actually, Max Crosby went up to Darren Waller, and that's kind of like how Max Crosby started his road to sobriety.
Yeah. So
Which,
I like just being an advocate for that and not being afraid to tell your story, like telling people it's okay to get help and not stigmatize those things and to be able to pursue the career and do something that you love. That's fucking awesome. And I'm so happy for you and proud of you as a human being.
and yeah, you summed that up really well. I don't think I can top that. So if Baker Mayfield was traded, your number one put situation for him is Pittsburgh.
I think Pittsburgh would probably be the best place for him. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at kind of a similar situation. You're looking at a better defense than an offensive line. I don't think Pittsburgh's offensive line was as bad as people thought it was because Big Ben was just so god awful last year. Um, I agree that Najee Harris needs more help, but man, I think if you make a few minor tweaks to that offensive line and give them any relative form of upgrade to the quarterback position, and they have a shot in that division for sure. I think the Ravens still have some holes that they're going to be struggling with. Um, I think that the Browns are going to be pending, legal situation next year if that happens. If not, still, like, you don't know what you're getting. They have one receiver right now, but I don't really know what to look for in that division. And then again, we're going to talk about this more later, but just the Bengals, I don't think that their additions will be enough to help them solidify another run to the Super Bowl. I really don't think so.
I think it's just so hard to go back to the Super Bowl back-to-back years.
Yeah.
I think you're right. They aren't going to make it back to the Super Bowl this year. I definitely still think they're going to be a threat in the AFC.
Yeah.
Their offensive line did get better.
Yeah.
But I think just getting an average, like even a slightly below average player in compared to a turnstile got Bengals fans real riled up.
Yeah. I
do like this.
Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say, I do like the Collins signing at right tackle, though.
Yes.
Collins at right tackle was fantastic.
That
was
is
a good sign.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
And Lyle Collins, I'm so happy he got a good amount of money on this deal.
Yeah.
Because his story is honestly really fucked up. He just finished his last year at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
His ex-girlfriend is murdered.
Damn. I didn't know that.
Yeah. His parents, her parents, brought him up as a person of interest on the police report.
What the fuck?
And he was being billed as a first-round pick because he was a great left tackle at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes undrafted. And as soon as the draft is over, that's when all of his legal stuff clears.
Oh, that
and they
sucks.
clear his name. And that's how he became an undrafted free agent for Dallas.
That sucks.
And part of the reason why Dallas was able to keep that offensive line in such great shape for such a long time because they got a steal on Lyle Collins as an undrafted guy. And I'm so happy that he is happy now and that he's making money and his name is cleared. Because imagine going through that situation. You lost someone that you could possibly still have feelings for, and you are also in fear of going to jail for something you didn't do and possibly losing out on a chance to live a lifelong dream.
Yeah.
Just
Well, and
What?
losing out on a shit ton of money in the first place, like, and never knowing if you're gonna get the opportunity, like going from being a first round pick in the NFL to an undrafted free agent is bad when you look at it like that. But
Yeah.
when you look at it like you think that you could spend life in prison if something goes wrong, if the legal system fails you in some way. That's so fucked up. That's so I didn't know that actually. I knew literally none of that. I knew that he had kind of a background in his story, but I didn't know it was anything like that.
Yeah, it was awful the reason why he went undrafted, and it's a good thing that he's now making the money that he should have been making back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something. But I also worry about the Bengals pass rush getting better
Mm-hmm.
because there's just times during the Super Bowl and even against that game against the Chiefs in the playoffs. There's times when their pass rush is just getting there, getting after it, and then just goes through lulls to where the quarterbacks have forever in the pocket.
Yep.
Like, they need to figure something out about that pass rush, even at the absolute worst manufacturing one. Like, even the Dolphins were able to get a pass rush on people last year by manufacturing pressures. You can blitz people. You can send different kinds of stunts. You can find a way to manufacture pressure if the talent isn't doing it one-on-one.
Yeah. And scouting nonstop is not the way to apply pressure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually just had like kind of a thought, and I don't know. You know, I think that going to your first Super Bowl and losing, I don't think that Joe Burrow has a loser's mentality by any standard. That dude was not satisfied with, with winning an award. He wanted to win the Super Bowl for his team. He wanted to win it for Cincinnati. But I thought about the Chiefs going to those back-to-back Super Bowls, and I thought, what was our problem in that second one? And it was the absence of an offensive line.
Yeah.
And because the Bengals have made upgrades, it just kind of reminded me, and it made me think, like, for me to just sit here and so boldly proclaim that the Bengals can't make it to the Super Bowl without, upgrading more of the offensive line, upgrading whatever, like, I think that's kind of blasphemous because my team made it to the Super. I mean, we got our backs blown out, but the point is that we made it there, and never say never when you have a quarterback like that. That's
just good policy. When you have a quarterback that can make guys buy in, and that's also accurate and can make the plays, that's huge. That's huge.
When you have that much offensive talent in general, with Mixon and with those three receivers.
Yeah, and Jamar Chase is fantastic. He is going to keep breaking people next year too.
Yep.
And just because you can't double team him because Higgins is too good.
Too physical, as well. Too athletic, yeah.
Yeah, and he's just a big, he's just a tall, fast receiver who can get it done, and those two as a combination is lethal.
Now Jamar has a year of experience under his belt, which is terrifying.
Yeah, because Jamar already plays like a veteran player.
And has played with Burrow, so it's like, hey.
that kind of chemistry, the way it's grown, is just fantastic. Yeah. And I really am curious if Joe Burrow is going to break the trend of quarterbacks who lost their first Super Bowl appearance
never returning
back.
Yeah, I think the same thing.
Because there's only been one quarterback to do it, and that was the first ever Super Bowl. Like the really? Packers Chiefs.
Huh.
The Packers ended up winning this first Super Bowl, and then I want to say it was like Super Bowl 5, where the Chiefs played. Len Dawson was the quarterback in Super Bowl 1, and when they won their first Super Bowl, Len Dawson was also the Super Bowl MVP when that happened, and he's now also a Hall of Fame player. And if you ever look up Len Dawson on Google, people, the first picture you're going to see him smoking a cigar in the locker room. I'm just saying, sometimes history repeats itself in different fonts.
Joe Burrow could be that guy. He really could.
He could be. I
There,
just don't think this season,
no, God
because
no.
the other guy had waited a couple of years too. But I definitely think Joe Burrow is going to win one.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. He might have to leave teams. He might have to swap teams. But I think that the situation he's in now, I don't think it's like a comfy situation because they have a lot that they could improve on for sure. But
Hey, they're building that indoor practice facility.
true,
They're
the
building
bubble,
it right now.
the bubble.
I'll build him a bubble. Go straight Seinfeld bubble boy.
Yeah, I I mean, hey Chiefy,
Hey,
it's okay, Bubby.
both me and Brett own cats.
Several, yes, multiple, more than one.
Yeah, both of us own. I own 2 cats. Brett owns a litter.
Yeah, that's true. I only have 2 that are, well, I have 3 that are mine. But hey Chiefy, come here. You don't need to cry. Come here. I think he wants food. But he already got fed. He's just whining.
He's whining the wine. So
You ready to
let's talk about
Matt Ryan?
the real. I was about to say, let's talk about the real losers from that trade, the
Oh,
Falcons.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
if we're
went all in.
if we're talking about the Falcons here, we may as well talk about Calvin Ridley and that nice little suspension as well.
Yeah, I know. They made a straight example of my man's.
Yeah.
I saw. So he's suspended the whole year. If in case anyone's been hiding under a rock, our boy placed some bets on some parlays, and the Falcons were also in, even though he wasn't playing.
Yeah. So he was out for mental health reasons, and he was nowhere near the team or the locker room from our understanding and from reports. He was completely removed from the football world. He was doing rehab. I believe he was even in another state, like physical state, not mental state.
Yeah, I don't even think sports gambling is legal in Georgia.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like, I don't know. It's a slippery slope if you can allow active players to gamble in the league, because then there's so much more attention with what the outcome's supposed to be.
yeah. It could
really
open up so many
the
doors
integrity
to,
of the game.
yeah, the integrity of the game. Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
there's a reason that people got shitty about Deflategate.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at sports history, it's like the reason that these guys gamble is because I guess I'm kind of making a point for and against. If you look at sports history, you look at people like Michael Jordan. If you look at the greats in their sport, Michael Jordan made the bet that he could make the free throw with his eyes closed, and he did. I believe, yeah. I mean, there's instances of that kind of stuff, and it's like betting on yourself is different, but I guess kind of where does that line of integrity lie?
Yeah.
Because he bet on his team to win, did he not?
Yeah,
While he
he
was
never
not
bet
playing.
the Falcons to lose.
Yeah. And if he was betting against his team while he wasn't playing the game, like that would be shitty. Like, haha, I'm removed, I'm betting on you guys to lose without me. But he bet on his team to win without them because he trusted them.
I really want to see the parlay that he bet.
It was released somewhere.
Please, someone find me on Twitter, send it to me. I need to see this parlay for
Ridley
my own.
wagered a total of $3,900 across 6 separate bets, on or including Falcons games. 5 of the bets were parlays in which the Falcons money line was included, and one was a $1,300 in-game wager on the Falcons team total placed during the second half of a 21-14 victory by Atlanta on November ... And this is courtesy of sportshandle.com, so thank you for this. By Atlanta on November 28th, all 6 of the wagers involving the Falcons were graded as losses.
Oof.
The parlays were headlined by a $300 11-leg bet on NFL games placed on the morning of November 28th at odds of the 481 over one bet. The bet would have paid more than $144,000 if successful.
God damn.
How did he get busted?
He
He was in
fucking
Florida.
bet.
So he was in Florida, and he used the only gambling app legal in the state. The app notified a compliance company the NFL has hired called Genius for this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was courtesy of Albert Breer on Twitter. Yeah. So first of all,
Didn't
if you
even
know
win.
if you know it's against the rules, you're fucking dumb for doing it. Especially knowing that you have to put your real ID and shit in. That's dumb. That is a
Okay,
dumb
why
idea.
don't you look what some of the smart players do and have your cousin do it? Like, for real.
Real.
You don't think players are having their cousins place these bets and just win pocket some of the change? Like, come
Yeah.
on. Like,
Yeah. And you're not gonna get in trouble for that for betting on your cousin's team, you know.
yeah, it's really hard to like be able to say like, oh, because you can't watch players' bank accounts.
Yeah.
That's just going overboard. That's crossing so many lines.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm okay with players gambling if they are betting on themselves or their team.
Yes.
Like Pete Rose, all the bets that he placed during that people got shitty about and why he's not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Fuck baseball.
Yeah.
All of them were bets on him and his team.
So let me ask this question though. I guess this becomes another portion of the competitive integrity of the game because you shouldn't pay coaches to lose games, right? What
Yeah,
if
let's talk about the
you what if
Dolphins,
you
Browns ownership? Let's go.
what if you pay someone on the enemy team, let's say that someone on the opposing team gets paid, let's say they have like a $5 million contract for a year, so 17 games, whatever. Let's say you find out how much they were going to make by playing in that game versus how much they'd miss by sitting out. You pay them more than they'd miss, or more than they'd make if they played in the game to sit out that game, and then you bet against that team. You bet like this receiver, you pay a corner to sit out, and then you pay a receiver, or you put a parlay on a receiver having like 180 yards, something like that, and they hit it because that corner's out. You know, something like that. So I understand how just blanketing it.
It's slippery slope.
Yeah. I understand how like having that blanket of security for them, it's like that it's a good thing in my opinion. And it's good to be very firm on that and to put that harsher penalty in place right away.
And this was a warning shot.
Yeah,
Like
this
for
was a warning for everybody.
NFL players, if you get caught, man, after this, I legit think that
You're
someone's
probably
gonna
out
get
of the league. Yeah.
so, yeah, someone's gonna get a lifetime ban over this. Like, I can already feel it. Roger Goodell is not playing with the sports gambling.
So was the suspension too harsh or was it just a warning shot?
Oh, it was a warning shot. I think Roger Goodell went a little overboard with the suspension
Yeah.
purposely. He
Yeah.
wanted to send a message.
For sure.
Because there was another player that literally got caught up gambling
Mhm.
who's like essentially just a depth player on some roster. I can't even name them off the top of my head. Like, he also got caught gambling and he didn't get suspended at all. Like, he definitely picked Calvin Ridley because he's a more high, like, marquee player. Kind of sucks because he picked a player that obviously has a lot of other stuff going on.
Well, and a lot of talent too. I mean, without so first of all, again, I'm a big mental health advocate. I drafted Calvin Ridley pretty highly last year in my fantasy football team. And obviously I wasn't going to get upset at him for not playing for mental health reasons, you know. I being such a large advocate for mental health, like I checked in on his Twitter. I was like looking for updates and stuff. So seeing this, I was kind of like, okay, well, this is kind of shitty, you know, like the whole situation, but like I'm really looking for like that mental health update rather than like looking for a reason to be upset about, you know, just dumb shit that like it doesn't really matter in the end. Like I don't care that you bet on your team and you lost. I don't. I'm sorry. I know that you weren't playing, but you still bet on your team. I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. I care about your mental health, your mental well-being. Where are you going to be moving forward? Are you okay? Are you getting the help that you need? Is your team supporting you? Is the league supporting you? Stuff like that. You know, if you got in trouble for this, hopefully you learned your lesson. We move on from it. That's all I have to say.
Okay, and all I have to say is it's kind of fucked up that for sports gambling, Calvin Ridley got a whole year suspension.
Mm-hmm.
None of the cases of assaults of any kind happening to women over the past couple of years in the NFL has gotten anything near that much of a suspension.
They haven't even broken the fucking news, dude.
Yeah, like it's just
Well, okay. Some of them obviously have broken the news, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, like come on, even Greg Hardy, who threw his girlfriend on a bed full of assault rifles, didn't even get fucking 8 games.
yeah.
Like, there's an issue here. I think the NFL needs to figure out what they really need to crack down on here.
Well,
And it's not. It
yeah.
probably is. It probably isn't Calvin Ridley fucking being really bad at picking games.
Yeah. They.
But once again, you have to uphold the integrity of the game, and also with gambling being involved, the integrity of the game is even more important now
Yeah.
than it was before sports gambling was legalized in as many states as it is now.
Yeah.
But sucks for the Falcons that their number one wide receiver isn't going to be able to play until he's 30 years old.
Yeah. Their only receiver, really.
Hey, Auden Tate just signed this week, baby. Auden Tate, that training camp MVP from the Bengals. 6'5". You know he's fresh because he's been riding the bench.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be really, really mediocre. Like I think he's gonna have a really solid 675-yard season with 6 touchdowns.
Damn, that's crazy. Man's putting out numbers.
Man's putting out. Hey, the TD number is not bad. 6 touchdowns in a season isn't bad.
Especially, yeah, no. Especially not
Especially
being the wide receiver one and like knowing that you're not the wide receiver one. Like that's decent for sure.
Okay, their wide receiver one is a tight end.
Well,
Kyle Pitts is their wide receiver one.
Their wide receiver one is going to be riding the suspension for the full year. But yeah, their next best player would be
Pitts, and then it kind of sucks when you know there's a real chance the running back might get more targets than you.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a real chance Cordero Patterson outpaces Auden Tate in targets. It's Marcus Mariota that's going to be starting for him this year.
Yeah.
Brings up our next point. Matty Ice is going to the Midwest.
Going to Indy.
Going to Indy. Going to my location. Just in case anyone wondered, I live in Indianapolis. I think it's a good thing for both Matt Ryan and the Colts. The Colts get the best quarterback they've had since Andrew Luck, and Matt Ryan gets to have the best offensive line he's had in his entire career and not get banged on for the latter half of his career like what happened last year. Because he was getting destroyed behind that Falcons offensive line last year. And I know he's going to be loving just throwing up jump balls to Michael Pittman and just handing the ball off to Jonathan Taylor 20 times a game. Since Kyle Shanahan left the Falcons. Okay. Maybe a little bit longer.
I turned around and I was looking at Chief because he was crying and my headset came unplugged. And my headset works wirelessly, but I looked at the computer and it said that there's no desktop audio. Can you say something?
Say something.
Yes, there you go. Okay, your audio is definitely back online. I'm gonna go put Chief in the other room because he's crying so much.
Sounds good.
I'm so sorry to ask you to repeat. I don't know if your thing went through.
Recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Chiefy, let's go downstairs.
So, what was the last thing you heard on your headset? Do, 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 do.
All right, sorry about that. Chief is back downstairs.
You are A-okay. So we're all saying about Matt Ryan. I think he's going to have one of his better years that he's had since Kyle Shanahan left the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
Great offensive line he's playing behind.
Yeah.
The best he's played behind in his career. He's much better than last year when he was getting smacked around every game.
Yeah.
Fantastic running back, and Jonathan Taylor hand the ball off to 20 times a game.
Yes.
And a young up-and-coming wide receiver, Michael Pittman. Now, all they really need is really just keep adding more playmakers to this offense.
Well, they need a tight end.
Mo Alley Cox is not terrible. Mo Alley Cox is a good red zone threat, but they do need a tight end that can block.
Yes.
I do agree with that. And at least a good thing for the Colts is that they have the salary cap room. They can go and sign a tight end to just block.
Mm-hmm.
They need to also focus on now what are they going to do in the draft since they don't have a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Eagles. They've got to draft well, and now they have a shot at the division. It's not going to be a guarantee because they still have to go up against Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And also maybe Goldilocks and the Jags can do something. Probably not, but maybe.
Hey man, they had a sneaky rebuild. I think that they could be a 6-win team.
You know, they did have a sneaky rebuild, and I think a lot of people, if you go back and watch some clips from some of those Jaguars games on offense, Trevor Lawrence is not the problem.
Not at all.
He's doing some high level stuff, and it's getting zero attention because he's like, I think for quarterbacks, he was like top 3 in drops last year.
Yeah.
The guys he's throwing to just aren't playing well.
Well, their offensive line sucked.
Yeah, their offensive line wasn't great, and your number one wide receiver is a 34-year-old Marvin Jones. DJ Shark didn't play, and Laviska Shenault, let's be real, has one
Hall of mid, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Now, my expectations are very, very tapered for next year because his number one wide receiver is Christian Kirk.
You know,
Christian Kirk is a good deep threat out of the slot. Christian Kirk can run some routes.
I would like him a lot more. Yeah, if he wasn't getting paid so goddamn much.
Yeah. How much is he averaging? Like 17, 18 mil a year?
Yeah, somewhere between 17 and $19 million, which is just dumb.
Yeah, it's for a player that seems fairly limited. I wouldn't pay that much money for. I understand wanting to have a deep threat in your offense and paying for it.
Yeah.
Especially one that can do it out of the slot, can be valuable in an offense.
Wait.
Again.
Sorry, I just looked at his contract. His contract this year, his cap hit for this year is only $7.5 million.
Oh, that's not bad.
His base salary for this year is one. Well, it's bad when you look at the future. They do have a potential out in 2024, which is going to be a $10 million dead cap hit for them, because this next year his salary goes up to a $21,500,000 cap hit.
You know why they spaced it out that way?
Because they're gonna
And
opt out.
they're gonna opt out right when they need to extend T-Law the next season.
Yeah.
They're gonna opt out, and then they're gonna wait, and then that next off season in 2025, they're gonna extend T-Law.
Yeah.
Is the plan if they can actually put anything around Trevor?
We'll see.
You want to hear? By the way, speaking of Trevor Lawrence,
Mm-hmm.
in case anyone wondered, just because he's blonde, he is from Georgia. He's from the state of Georgia. Fun fact about Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer one day during a meeting or something said to Trevor Lawrence that he thinks that Southern boys are dumb. Not thinking that Trevor Lawrence is from fucking California or something.
Oh God.
It's because he doesn't talk like this and doesn't like hunt hogs with a knife.
Yeah.
By the way, Treylon Burks is insane. He legitimately wide receiver for Arkansas that's draft eligible this year, probably going to be a first-round pick. 100 hogs growing up with a knife.
That's fucking awesome.
Like, what the fuck? He's from, like, a little town out in Arkansas, like, a couple, like, 1,000 people, like, 2,000 people.
Dude, that is awesome.
But, yeah, I think Colts fans should be very happy they have Matt Ryan, because I think they finally have a quarterback that is going to start for them for more than 1 year. They are finally going to get that consistency that they need for that. And now I don't think there's too many excuses, really, for Frank Wright or Chris Ballard moving forward. Now you have to put something on this roster. You have to now. Like, you have a quarterback now. There is no excuse once you have a quarterback.
Yup.
For you to not make the playoffs.
Yup.
Granted, I'm okay with just keeping that making the playoffs, because winning a game in the playoffs is so fucking hard.
Yeah, especially in the AFC.
Yeah, especially in the AFC.
Yeah.
Like, you could be running into, even if you're like the number 2 seed somehow for Indy, you could be running into the Bengals or the Ravens or the Raiders or the Chargers or the Chiefs at that 7th.
You never know until you're
Dolphins. And, like, all of those teams are matchup problems.
Yeah, especially with how feral the AFC West is. Yeah, no kidding.
Like you want to run into the Chargers in the first round. You want to deal with Justin Herbert, who's used to, like, having crowd noise even at home games.
You know, I mean, no disrespect, but I don't know if they'll, you know, I don't know if they'll be making it there.
That's fine, because there's only 7 spots and a bunch of good teams in the AFC, and someone has to come out of the AFC South.
True.
That's the thing. I don't think the AFC South even has a top 7 team in the conference. I think
the Colts are borderline. The Colts are like 2 trades away. Let me check one thing real quick, just to make sure I'm not talking and not knowing what I'm saying. But if I'm not mistaken,
I hope Julio signed with the Colts.
The Colts have the 2nd most remaining cap space.
Yeah, they can go get Tyrann Mathieu. Thank you. They can go get Tyrann Mathieu and Julio Jones, and then just say, we're gonna build this team for the millennials. All the millennials' favorite players are on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come buy tickets.
Dude, looking at this list, I don't know how I feel. If you look at, like, God, there's just such a rift between some of these teams. Like, there's so many mediocre at best teams that have, like, middle of the pack space left, and there's, like, most of the teams that have no space are really great teams, and then there's the Giants who have no space, and they are the worst.
The Giants have been so bad.
They've just been so bad. Here's the order currently. Number 1 is Panthers, 2 is Colts, 3 is Texans, 4 is Browns, 5 is Saints, 6 is Lions, 7 is Eagles, 8 is Chargers, 9 is Chiefs, 10 is Bengals, 11 is Bears, 12 is Broncos, 13 Seahawks, 14 Cowboys, 15 Vikings, 16 Jets, 17 Packers, 18 Steelers, 19 Dolphins, 20 Commanders, 21 Rams, 22 Ravens, 23 Bucks, 24 Jags, 25 Raiders, 26 Cardinals, 27 Patriots, 28 Falcons, 29 Titans, 30 49ers, 31 Bills, and 32 Giants. I know that the Falcons really got hurt by that Matt Ryan trade, by the dead cap hit, but did.
Biggest dead cap in NFL history, but they still have more cap space than the fucking Giants.
Yeah. Well, they still have more cap space than the Titans, 49ers, Bills, and Giants, but the Giants are the only, bad team in there, yeah.
And honestly, the 49ers could gain $20 million cap space by trading Jimmy G.
True.
If there is a team even willing to trade for Jimmy G,
there has to be. There
Seattle?
will be. Yeah, I was going to say something like Seattle, maybe Atlanta might, but they don't have any money, but...
They don't have any money. They can't afford Jimmy G's contract. They have this... The hard thing here is trying to get a team to also take on Jimmy G's contract.
Yeah.
49ers, if they want to get rid of that contract and really try to sign some free agents last minute, they need a package of pick with it, like the Browns did with Brock Osweiler a couple years ago. Yeah. The Browns took on Brock Osweiler's contract and got a second-round pick with it from the Texans.
Yeah.
You trade for, I think it was a sixth-round pick. It was highway robbery. Literally, the Texans were just we need this cap space now. And Cleveland's we'll take anything that will give us a nickel. Just give us a nickel and we'll take them. It's just so bad. And that's kind of the situation with Jimmy G. Jimmy G is about the same skill level as Brock Osweiler.
I'd give him a little bit better.
Okay, he's a little bit better.
If you factor in his interpersonal skills, everybody loves him, even though he's mid.
Okay, Jimmy Garoppolo is Brock Osweiler, but with way higher emotional intelligence. Heard.
Yes.
It was a funny story about Jimmy G. Kyle Shanahan was asked today, between Jimmy G and Trey Lance, which one does he hear from more during the offseason? Jimmy G, he won't hear from till training camp. Jimmy G is not a guy that really communicates very often. Trey Lance, he hears from constantly. Hears from all the time. It does make sense, and that's something you want to see from your young quarterback. And I'm just so excited. Anyone who is listening to this, even if it's just a $5 bet, Trey Lance is plus 4,000 right now on FanDuel. Please, a $5 bet
for the MVP.
For MVP. For MVP. Why not? Take a risk to see if he's the next Mahomes.
Honestly, could be. You never
Similar skill set.
You
never know. Unless you're NBC, then the more you know. So essentially, the Falcons are kind of just fucked next year, and it's fine. It's gonna be fun to watch Cordero Patterson and Kyle Pitts do everything.
Yeah, that dude is gonna put up yards.
Both of them are just gonna go crazy.
Yeah, but CDP's gonna go really crazy.
I'm interested to see what that offense is actually gonna look like in any way, shape, or form. And I feel so bad for the current Falcons head coach because there's just not a whole lot to work with there.
Yeah, it just depends on whether or not they can get a quarterback,
Yeah, and Marcus Mariota, no offense to Marcus, He's a great athlete, but he is not it. He is just Taysom Hill, but more accurate. Like, that's it.
Yeah, I guess that's a pretty good comparison. I was gonna say less athletic, but more accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because Taysom Hill has the versatility that Taysom Hill could actually be a skill position player in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, he's working out as a tight end full time for the Saints right now.
He's signed as a full tight end. He is no longer listed as a potential quarterback. He is full tight end. That's how he got his contract was restructured as a full time tight end.
Yeah, and that's what Dennis Allen wanted.
Yeah.
Because Dennis Allen isn't a psychopath like Payne was. Sean Payne was a fucking crazy man for going with that Taysom Hill project for as long as he did.
Hey man,
Insane.
You gotta try shit sometimes.
Exactly. It would be really funny if Taysom Hill is like Jameis Winston's security blanket next year.
Yeah.
Literally all the checkdowns go to Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I fuck with it, to be honest with you.
the more and more I think about the Saints team,
I like it.
I do really like the Saints this year. Losing Marcus Williams back there as a safety is not ideal, but it had to happen. You just couldn't afford to re-sign him for market value. You couldn't draw him.
The retirement, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Jenkins. Yeah.
One of the best safeties of his generation. Fun fact about Malcolm Jenkins: in his 13 NFL seasons, he played 99 to 100% of the snaps in 7 of them.
Wow, that's crazy.
Insane to play those many snaps in a season and hold up.
Do you think that the Saints will still be able to roll the Bucs this year?
I think they can blow out the Bucs once.
Okay.
I don't think they're gonna sweep them, but I think they're gonna split the series 1-1.
Okay. I mean, honestly, they should take that with all of their Considering
Like,
what a bad cap position they were in, they should definitely take a 1-1.
Yeah.
Before the Malcolm Jenkins news, when I looked at what all of the matchups were going to look like for this year, I had, I believe I had the Saints going 9-8, with 2 wins over the Bucs. So.
Yeah, the Saints are definitely in play to win that division.
Mm-hmm.
And or contend for any one of those 3 wild card spots.
Yeah.
And that division is just Carolina has a bunch of fun players on both sides of the ball, but they don't have a quarterback at all. And they're just not gonna get very far without one.
Carolina's kind of a for-fun team this year.
Mm-hmm. And the NFC is good defensively as a whole.
Yeah.
Traditionally, it's usually a good conference defensively.
Yeah.
And if you don't have an average quarterback in that conference, you're going to get exposed.
Yeah.
And that's just what's going to happen here for Carolina when they rock out with Sam fucking Darnold as their starter.
Hey, man, they might re-sign Cam Newton.
They might re-sign Cam Newton. And then it's going to make it more sad.
You know.
It's going to make me sad because I know they'll play fucking both players.
Yeah.
And neither one is going to be great.
Well.
Also, how the fuck did the Panthers beat the Cardinals last year?
How did the Jets beat the Bengals? They exposed the one weak spot and exploited it.
Yeah. The Jets are really mad they don't play in just a different division. Because the Jets really aren't that bad.
If they were in the AFC South, they would be rocking out with their cock out. But these dudes were getting they were getting their asses eaten by Brady for 20 years. So I understand
now they're
the anger.
Forced by Josh Allen.
Yeah, exactly. It's just moving from one era of fuckery to the next. It's like, oh, hey, we have no offensive production, and we have someone very slowly moving the ball up the field on us, too. Oh, hey, there's someone who can output offensive production, and their defense is pretty good, too. Fuck.
And now they just have a Mormon quarterback that looks like he's from a boy band. great.
All right.
Zach Wilson was a baller at the end of the season.
Yes.
I will give him that. He balled out at the end of the year.
Dude.
Looked really shaky to start.
Blazing.
But he's
blazing
catching
hot take. Blazing hot. I agree with you. Zach Wilson, QB1. Let's go for the Jets. Mike White to the Panthers. You want to talk about balling out, dude?
Yeah, you know what? I like Mike White. I think Mike White, in terms of how good he is just as good. Who started for the Commanders for most of last year? He's just as good as Taylor Heineke.
Oh, yeah. I think he's better than Heineke.
I think he's better than Heineke, too. But I think that's the caliber we're messing with here.
Okay.
I think we're...
kind of in the Davis Mills.
Ooh, maybe Nick Foles, kind of.
Okay. So he, has potential for an MVP season, but after that he's going to fall off of a cliff.
100%. Like he screams, I had 4,000 yards one year, and I don't even know how.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's remember when Kyle Allen actually looked decent.
Oh my God! Stop.
Here.
Yeah.
That is Mike White.
I
also,
what's up?
Cousin of Josh Allen.
Wait, what?
Kyle Allen is Josh Allen's cousin.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The more you know.
I wasn't going to do this in this episode, but now I feel compelled to because we were talking about teams that are going to make the playoffs. So earlier I boldly predicted, and here are my bold predictions that I will stand by. These are my playoff teams. I believe that the Cleveland Browns will win the AFC North. I believe that the Buffalo Bills will win the AFC East. I believe that the Indianapolis Colts will win the AFC South. I believe that the Denver Broncos will win the AFC West. I believe that the Kansas City Chiefs will make the playoffs from the AFC West as a wild card slot. I believe that the Las Vegas Raiders will also make the playoffs as a wild card slot. And I believe that the Miami Dolphins will also make the playoffs as a wild card slot. For the NFC, I believe that the Green Bay Packers will win handily the NFC North. Not too handily, because I think that the Vikings and the Lions have potential, but I think that they have at least a 10-7 record, maybe 11-6. The NFC East, I believe the Philadelphia Eagles win this division. I don't know if they're going to go 10-7 or 9-8 and just have the tiebreaker win over Dallas. Either are possible. I believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the NFC South, and I believe that if the Rams re-sign Odell Beckham Jr., it's a different story, but at this current moment, I believe that the San Francisco 49ers win the division, the NFC West. I believe that the Los Angeles Rams, again, are a very strong contender for the playoffs and certainly get a wild card slot. I believe that the New Orleans Saints get another wild card slot. I believe that if Kyler Murray can stay healthy, the Cardinals take the last wild card slot. But if not, then I give it to the Vikings.
Gotcha.
There you go.
All right. Well, since you did yours, I'll go through and give my predictions too for who I think the winners and playoff teams are going to be.
Let's go.
AFC North. This is where actually I'll start with the NFC because the NFC where you and me actually have the most in agreement with.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with my team. Packers are gonna win the NFC North next year. I'm just putting it out there.
I hope so.
We own Chicago and we own the North.
True.
Okay. NFC East. I also agree with you there. I think the Eagles are gonna end up taking that division.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see them really use those 3 first-round picks this year and get an impact rookie out of one of those 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see a really good fit that I would love to see, and I think the front office is going to do, is going to go get Jamison Williams out of Alabama. He is the Deshaun Jackson clone.
Really?
The way that he can go down the field as a deep threat. He's good with the ball in his hands in yak situations. He is explosive. The only reason I think he might not end up being an Eagle is because he might be the first wide receiver taken off the board.
Wow. Okay.
I am high on this wide receiver that's named after 2 whiskeys. Okay. Now for the NFC South, I agree with you here. I think Tampa is going to end up taking this division. They're just still too talented. Tom Brady is the best quarterback in this division, bar none. Like the second best quarterback's Jameis Winston. It's Tom.
Yeah.
Like, Tom Brady's division to win. And
Or
for
lose,
NFC
I
West,
guess. Alternative.
yeah, lose. I mean, yeah, but Brady's not much for losing.
No.
NFC West. I agree with you here. I'm going to take the 49ers as the winner of this division. Now, for my 3 playoff teams for this conference, I do think the Rams are going to probably have the top seed out of all the wild cards this year. There's such a good roster still, even with losing Von Miller. Even if they don't re-sign Odell, they still have Allen Robinson. They still will have Cooper Kupp and Jefferson. I think is going to really grow this year.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a breakout season from Van Jefferson.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I think he's going to be a legit wide receiver by the end of the season. He's already a legit deep threat in the NFL.
Yeah.
My second playoff team, I'm going to go with the Cardinals. The Cardinals, I think, had the highest variance of all the NFC teams. I could see them winning 11 games or losing 11 games. It just depends how Kyler Murray plays, depends how Cliff Kingsbury's play calling is going throughout the season. Is he adding more to his offense or not? And just nutrition in this team. If DeAndre Hopkins can stay healthy the whole season with Kyler Murray, they have a real shot at even winning their division.
God, I hope so. I love him.
And now with my last wild card spot, this one's easy. It's the Saints.
Okay.
Their roster is just really good.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas coming back from injury, he's going to remind people that he is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL.
And not just a slant receiver.
Not just a slant.
Yeah.
A great contested catch receiver, great running routes. A good player. And a team that I think is going to be sneaky good this year, even though we just dunked on them for not being good about the cap. I think the Giants are going to be sneaky good.
That's where we disagree, but
it is a part where we disagree. I'm going to put this out there. I think the Giants are going to finish with a better record than the Cowboys next year.
Wow. I think I had the Giants going like 4-13 next year, but maybe I had them at like 6-11, but it was not good. So.
I think that Brian Dable and this new coaching staff, sometimes you see like a little 1-year jolt of life from teams when they switch head coaches. This team does have talent on the roster. I don't know. I think they're going to be a sneaky decent team.
Okay.
But that's probably my most controversial NFC team. Now let's go to the AFC. So my number 1 team, as you can all see on the YouTube, my profile picture is Lamar Jackson dressed as Harry Potter. And I am 1,000% riding with Lamar. I'm riding with this Ravens team. They dealt with so many injuries last year, still hung with a lot of really good teams, even beat some teams that they probably shouldn't have last year. It's all about this year about protecting Lamar Jackson and actually expanding this offense beyond the running game. The passing game that the Ravens had last year was very stale. We saw a lot of stick routes constantly. If this new OC can really expand upon it, I think we could really unlock this offense as a whole and really unlock Lamar Jackson as a complete player. I think he was honestly being held back in Greg Roman's offense last year. And there was just times in games to where you could just see him just flip a switch. And even his body language would be different. He would just play better. True. Lamar Jackson's a very emotional player, the way that he plays. You can see in his body language how he is going to play, almost. If you see him just calm and focused, he's gonna win this game.
If you see him run to the locker room looking like he's got to take a shit, he's just getting a fluid IV. Don't worry.
He's just getting a fluid IV in the back. That'd be cramping. But you can see when he gets frantic, though, and gets frustrated, that's when the offense starts to sputter a little bit. When guys aren't getting open, when he's moving in the pocket too much and not setting his feet in for throws, that's when you see his fundamentals start to break down. You see the offense start to break down.
When he tries to sit in the pocket. When he's not him. Yeah, I completely
when
agree.
He's not playing free.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I think when Lamar is playing free and he feels in control of the offense, that's when he's at his best.
I think it's the exact same with Cam Newton too.
Mm-hmm. It's when that frustration sets in.
Yeah,
is when it's come up.
And it's like both of them have a very similar style where it's like they can both run and get free. Where it's different is obviously Lamar is a lot more elusive, whereas Cam was just not afraid to truck people. But with Lamar, they both try to throw on the move.
With their,
and there's some quarterbacks that can do that.
With their upper body, they don't throw with their spine and their legs. That's kind of. I really wonder if both Cam and Lamar threw with like a technique that Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson used, more like a flick of the wrist, and more getting torque with your spine, how much farther they could throw. Because they legit. Cam's a straight arm thrower.
Oh yeah.
Like that man is just straight bicepped in it, man.
Yeah, he doesn't use his legs. Like if you watch, that's always been one of the biggest like digs on Cam Newton is that he has never once like planted his feet to make a throw. Other than the Super Bowl run year. That was the only year that he ever like planted his feet to make a throw.
And that year, Ted Ginn was his number one wide receiver.
Yeah, isn't that fucking crazy?
It was such an outlier of a season. By far Cam's best season. But just doing it with no true wide receivers and Greg Olsen.
Yep.
Greg Olsen, also, people are going to see he is so good in the booth. Yeah. He's going to be probably on the Super Bowl this year in the booth with Kevin Burkhardt, and people are going to see that he's just as good as Tony Romo.
He is so knowledgeable and intelligent in what he says. You can really tell that he loves the game and played for a long time, so he knows what he's talking about for sure.
Exactly. Okay. Now that I'm off my Ravens soapbox here, AFC East, it's super easy. It's the Bills. The Bills are the best team in that division, and it's easy. Josh Allen is a fantastic quarterback. As long as he's healthy and playing, they are the betting favorite to win the AFC right now.
Yeah.
Well, for Vegas, they are the
No, I was just saying, I agree with you.
Oh yeah, and they're going to do damage this year. They are going to embarrass some teams.
Well, the only reason that they didn't make the conference championship last year is 13 seconds. Patrick Mahomes finished off. We all know how it went. I won't rub it into anybody's faces because honestly, it was. He's got
Grim. The Grim Reaper came out. Yeah, you got a fake story from Andy Reid.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I love the menu that he read that story off of, but as long as Josh Allen's healthy, this Bills team is gonna definitely do a lot of damage, and their defensive line is so deep.
Yeah.
Adding Von Miller to it, just gonna add another level
for the next 4 years. I think was it 4 or 5? It was 4 or 5. Yeah. Either way, that's fucking crazy.
It's essentially the rest of his career. He's gonna retire a Bill.
Oh yeah. Well, he might sign like a 1 year or like a 1 day with the Broncos.
Yeah, retire as a Bronco.
If he got Super Bowl MVP there, I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna get a day contract to retire as a Bronco. But this will be like the last of his career. Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that he only played 1 year in the NFC and he's gonna finish out in the AFC.
Yeah.
I think that's fun.
Hey, you got another Super Bowl win. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that is all that matters. AFC South, pretty easy for me. I think the Indianapolis Colts are probably gonna take this division. I don't think very highly of this division as a whole.
Yeah.
I think just strictly Matt Ryan being on the roster and that offensive line and them having probably the highest floor out of all the defenses in that division, that's why I'm going to take.
That's fair.
And also, a fun little move that the Colts also made that I don't think made enough headlines. They traded cornerback Rock Ya-Sin to the Raiders for Yannick Ngakoue. Yannick Ngakoue was actually a decent edge rusher at the Raiders last year. I think Colts fans are going to be happy that they got him. They're going to be happy. They're going to get a solid 9 sacks from him, maybe a couple of forced goals, and they're going to enjoy getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Because they're going to face one of these wild card teams that's just going to fall.
I was like, the only way that they could get, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
They're not winning against anybody. Unless it's Miami. They're not winning against anybody. And Miami's...
I don't even think Miami.
Well, if Jonathan Taylor runs for 300 fucking yards, they might, and he very well could.
Their run game is so good, they could probably beat Miami.
That's what I'm saying. That's it, though.
If they ran into New England or the Bengals or Cleveland or Baltimore
even Kansas City, not a chance. Yeah.
Like, they would just get smoked. And that brings me to AFC West now. This one I've been struggling with a lot lately. But trying to think who is honestly going to take this division. It's going to be so close.
I completely agree. I think that all of these teams are going to be like 9+ wins.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be there's not going to be a team that doesn't crack at least 8-9 wins, like you're saying, from this division.
Unless, and I'm saying this as a God forbid, I'm knocking on wood as I say this, unless, God forbid, one of the quarterbacks gets injured. But even then, the rosters are so complete that I think even a backup could probably step in and get at least 8 wins.
This is going to definitely be one that you and me are going to disagree on, because you don't even have them making the playoffs. But I think the Chargers are winning this division.
Wow. Okay.
I think the Chargers makes the division. I think Brandon Staley has been in the seat long enough. He has his culture built up. He has his guys now on both ends of the ball.
Yeah.
He has guys around Derwin James now. This is the time to see what that defense is going to actually look like they used to run in LA. He has the guys now to run it here. Well, they used to run for the Rams. He's still in Los Angeles, but he has the guys now to run the defense that he wants to run. I want to see it because Brandon Staley brought up a good point during this offseason. You can't always run what you want to on defense.
Oh, yeah.
You have to do what you can do with the guys you have.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I was
about to say that's the problem the Chargers ran into last year, is that they just didn't have too many guys outside Derwin James and Joey Bosa, and that was okay at the time. Like their defense was just kind of letting guys run through everything, and their offense was just trying to pick it up. But now adding Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson, like the expectations are different now.
I respect the fuck out of that team. They're man.
But also, I understand being skeptical about the Chargers because historically, they implode.
Yeah.
Historically, like they are the only team in NFL history that had the number 1 offense and number 1 defense the same year and not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Hey, what's wrong, Oliver? Oh, you brought me a mouse. You want to play too?
And that's because their special teams was just god awful that year.
Yeah.
But I really think this is different, and I love saying that because it reminds me of people that are going to marriage counseling. And
God.
Great. But now, let's stop thinking about the shitty marriage I have with the Chargers now. It's not a shitty marriage. It's a great marriage. She's fantastic. I think Justin Herbert's going to be great.
I think he's already great, but it's just their reckless abandon style of play. They have a very Carson Wentz style of play as a team. It concerns me.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm just interested to see how this plays out. If this defense can stop being a turnstile like last year, I think they have a good shot of winning this division.
Okay.
I don't trust Russell Wilson anymore.
Yeah.
Is more or less my thing.
No,
I still think
fair.
they're a good enough team to win the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, to win enough games to make the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl for us there in Denver.
No, dude, that's completely... I mean, it's valid. I know you and I talked a little bit before this started about kind of how we feel about Russell Wilson and how this division is kind of stacked. I just think that the Broncos have the best, most complete roster, and I know that it's kind of hard to argue that against the Raiders and against the Chargers especially. Both of those teams are really, really solid, and with the additions of either young players or like veteran players in terms of experience, but not in terms of years.
But like you're saying, it's harder to pick a key weakness really with depth.
Yeah.
Like, there's a position group that's exactly like a glaring hole. Like, running back, they're fine. Offensive line, they're fine. Wide receivers, they have a great young wide receiver group. This is going to sound like a lot of slander, but Tim Patrick's going to have a better year next year than Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, no, I don't. I think that's fine. I went back and looked. When you were talking about Tim Patrick so highly, I was very confused. Because I thought Jerry Jeudy was going to be the star of that young team. But I went back and I looked and I was like, you might be right about this. Like the film.
Yeah, he's legit. Like, Cortland Sutton is the number 1 wide receiver. He's going to be the X receiver on that team.
Mm-hmm.
But Tim Patrick is a big, fast wide receiver that can get open at the intermediate level and can get open deep. I have a lot of faith in Tim Patrick next year, and he fits what Russell Wilson wants to do way more than Jerry Jeudy.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's trying to compare Jerry Jeudy to Tyler Lockett and Jonathan Baldwin. Okay, that's not the kind of player he is.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. He's more of an Odell Beckham Jr. type of player.
And Jonathan Baldwin aren't even the same player.
Well, yeah, but I think with Jerry Jeudy, one of the better comparisons would be like an Odell Beckham Jr. because he is just, his routes are very, very good. I would compare him more to like a Hunter Renfrow type. It's like he just runs very smart routes. It's not that he's like, he's not slow, but he's not like a Debo or a Tyrese.
He's a 4-4 guy.
Yeah.
He's a 4-4 guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to get open, but he makes most of his living in the middle of the field and getting yak opportunities after the catch.
Yep.
Like, it's not Russell Wilson's game to attack the middle of the field and attack the portions of the field that Jerry Jeudy usually wins at.
Yep.
And expecting Jerry Jeudy to turn into this deep threat all of a sudden, okay, he could probably do it. He has the skill set to possibly do it, but we haven't really seen it. Even at Alabama, that's not exactly what he did there either.
Yeah, and expecting him to
post out the slot and run fades out the slot when that's not what he's been asked to do.
Exactly what I was saying. Yeah.
But that's just my qualm with the Jerry Jeudy. Everyone hyping up Jerry Jeudy in fantasy to pair with Russell Wilson. Like, he's actually getting drafted before Scary Terry right now, which makes zero sense in my mind.
The only reason I think it doesn't make sense is because I think Terry McLaurin is probably going to go to a team of at least Chiefs caliber. So I think...
Ooh, you think Terry McLaurin gets traded?
I really do, yeah.
Ooh, honestly, I would rather trade for Terry McLaurin than DK Metcalf.
I think... that's a really tough one. I think it has to depend on the team for me.
I think Scary Terry is a more skilled wide receiver than DK. I think DK is a more freaky athlete,
Yes.
but I just think Scary Terry is actually taking the time to actually get good at the position. I'm not just saying that because Terry McLaurin's from Indiana.
I actually didn't even know that, but
He's from like the Indianapolis area.
Dude, DK is such a freak fucking athlete. I can't. His size, his speed, his athleticism are all elite. I just can't put anybody over him right now. Like, there's nobody that I can say that I would rather see us sign than those two guys right there, right now.
Than DK?
Yeah, than DK or, I mean, Tyler Lockett would be an okay sign just because I know he has very reliable hands, but...
Mm-hmm. And he's good deep threat, but you have a cap with Tyler Lockett.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, DK has a higher ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
DK, I think, has a higher ceiling than Terry McLaurin.
Yes,
I just think...
Exactly.
I just think Terry McLaurin's more consistent.
For sure.
Than DK as a whole.
Sure.
And I honestly just want... And also, Terry McLaurin has never played with a good quarterback. Since he left Ohio State.
Yeah.
He has played with bum after bum. The beginning of his career is very similar to DeAndre Hopkins, where he is putting up great numbers with terrible quarterback play.
Yeah, poor D-Hop. I want him to win a ring before he
retires.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know the story with his mom?
Oh, did his mom go to jail when she really shouldn't have?
No. His mom...
Oh, Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah, his mom had the acid thrown on her, and she's blind.
Oh.
Yeah. I think the story was something along the lines of her husband was cheating or had a girlfriend from, like, before they got together or something along those lines. And one day she confronted her and the crazy ex or whatever she was threw like a mixture of bleach and acid on her, and it blinded her. And that's why anytime he catches a touchdown, she's always in the front row, so he goes and hands her the game ball and gives her a hug. I think that's so wholesome. I love that. I love D-Hop.
Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins is such a hardworking player, and he is so confident in himself.
Mm-hmm.
I love players that know that they're good.
Yeah.
They're aware that they are. Because you need that kind of confidence when you're on the field. Because you are doing something such reckless abandon. You're putting your body on the line.
Especially the way he plays.
Oh, yeah. He's a contested catch guy. He is battling with corners. And I love...
Emphasis on the S, as in multiple per play.
Yeah. I also have a lot of love for DeAndre Hopkins. I'm with you. I want to see him win a Super Bowl before he retires. It's just rare for guys to win them. Sadly, though, like not everyone's Brady. Not everyone wins multiple Super Bowls, and the players that do really do appreciate it. Like Malcolm Jenkins, like we talked about earlier, retired. And he's a two-time Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
One with the Saints and also won with the Eagles. And it's hard. It's rare. That's why guys who do stuff like that end up in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why it's easier to get in once you have a Super Bowl ring because it's so difficult. And sometimes it's just pure.
As a non-quarterback, especially
Mm-hmm. Quarterback, you're more the driver of your own situation to a certain extent.
Yeah. I just checked out D-Hop's contract, and he is contracted through this year guaranteed.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure they're going to take the potential out after this season because the cap hit after this season will be $30,750,000 for the 2023 season.
Oh, they're going to try to restructure that.
I think they'll just take the out, to be honest with you.
Oh, and just try to cut them?
Yeah. It'll be $18 million. Well...
That's all. That's a lot still.
That's
and you
a
have to think,
lot
that's
of
not how
debt,
much Christian Kirk got paid. You could definitely try to get D-Hop, like, to restructure his contract to where he's still, like, a top 5 paid wide receiver, top 3 paid wide receiver.
If
But
you had to list top 5 receivers in the league right now, who do you have as your top 5 receivers in the league right now?
this exercise is so much easier when I can do it player by player.
No, it completely makes sense. Do you want me to start?
Oh, I can still probably rip them off real quick.
Okay.
Devontae Adams is my number 1. Man, some people are gonna piss my number 2. Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is the second wide receiver in the NFL.
That's fair.
Third is Cooper Kupp. Fourth is D-Hop. And then 5 for me right now is Justin Jefferson.
Okay, we're pretty we're kind of similar. I agree. I have Devontae Adams number 1 overall. Number 2 is where we differ. I think just because normally any other year I would say DeAndre Hopkins is probably up in my 2 or 3 slot. But just because he wasn't healthy last year, I have to move him down. He's going to be sitting at about 4 for me.
So you're the same on D-Hop?
Yeah, I have him at about 4. My 2 and 3 are probably about where we differ right now. I really think that Tyreek Hill and Debo are probably my 2 and 3 just because they are such versatile guys and they are game changers. I think I have Tyreek Hill at 2 and Debo at 3 just because I have a larger sample size from Hill. And I have Jefferson at 5. So I don't have Jamar or Kupp in my top 5, but that's just because I don't have a large enough sample size from Jamar yet. I've seen elite production, and like we talked about earlier, I think he's only going to get better. I think he's going to get better, yeah. But with Kupp, he has had elite production for the past 3 years, something like that. But
I mean, he's had some really good production even with Jared Goff.
Yeah.
I mean, the only times when he really hasn't produced was when he's been injured. There's only been like 1 season when he suffered a major injury. I just think he's such a technician.
Yeah.
I think the way he plays the game is the right way to play it, where you don't rely on speed, but he can still get open deep. He can still hits open at every level, and he's a great run blocker. I love Cooper Kupp.
Maybe slide him in at number 5.
Maybe slide him in at number 5.
Yeah, slide Jefferson down to 6.
All right, sorry, J-Jet. I still love you.
Jamar's probably he's top 10 for me. I don't know how high I can put him yet.
You can put him at 10.
No, I think he deserves to be top 5 if he can keep up this production. I just don't.
Oh, yeah.
I need to see it.
He broke the rookie receiving yards record. Yeah, which is, and you know what's really funny?
Huh.
I love that he did it in 16 games.
Yeah.
Just because, so people couldn't say that he needed the 17th game to do it.
I know.
The fact that he did it in 16, I was like, yes. Because I was a firm believer of Jamar during all the drops, during all the training camp drama. I was like, nah, this is adjustment period stuff. This is an outlier. This man can play. I saw too much of him like dogging SEC guys. Like he's too good. And then that first game against the Vikings happened, and he made me $50. And I was like, yes.
Hey, be careful with that sports gambling, man.
I know. Hey, it's fine. I'm not in the league.
So I got 3 questions for you.
Oh, and my last 3 playoff teams are the rest of that division. The AFC West has all 3 wildcard teams for me.
Yeah, that's
the Bengals barely miss out on the playoffs.
I can't. The Chargers are too risky for me.
That's understandable.
They even last year when they were taking their no punt, were marching down the fucking field approach. It didn't get them there.
Yes. I We'll see how the aggressive analytics approach goes this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Where do you have DK ranked among receivers? You don't have to give like an exact number, just like top 10, top 15, top 20.
15.
15.
Good job.
I think I'm probably about somewhere. I think I probably have him in the 12 to 14 range.
I'd say top 15, just because I bet you. Okay, maybe I don't have him that high. I could top 20 is definitely the basement for him.
Oh yeah.
I definitely think DK is a great player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna definitely see a lot this year from DK because either he gets traded or he's gonna be getting passes from a bad quarterback this year. If he stays in Seattle, there's a chance that it's either gonna be a rookie or Drew Lock throwing it to him.
Mm-hmm.
If he still puts up great numbers, that could definitely prove a lot for me. Because it's different from when you're playing for quarterback whose skill set is perfect for your skill set.
Yes, completely agree. Where do you think Michael Thomas is going to rank in this upcoming season? He's never had a quarterback that is willing to throw downfield.
Until now with James.
Yeah.
I think he's a top 10 guy.
Top 10?
I think Michael Thomas is a top 10 guy.
I think probably somewhere between 8 and 12, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to really show out this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see a lot more flexing for number 13. I really do think that he's going to put up over 1,000 yards again this year.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to probably lead the league in catches.
Really? Okay.
And then have him back to leading the league in catches this year. Cooper Kupp is going to probably finish in top 5 in catches too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be Michael Thomas just being force-fed the ball.
That's fair. That's sound logic.
Like, there's not another good wide receiver really on that roster.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Harris is okay, but he's more of a gadget and, like, returner.
Yeah.
He's a true receiver. And I know they re-signed Traquan Smith, but that doesn't move the needle.
Yeah, I was going to say Taysom Hill, tight end. That's really your only other pass catcher that's notable, worthy.
Okay. If we're going to include running backs, Alvin Kamara is the wide receiver too, then.
Oh, my God. Absolutely. Yeah.
Alvin Kamara is probably the second best route runner on that whole team.
And he's pretty much him alone is, well, him and their defense always managing to pull some shit on Tom Brady were the only reason I had them as one of my wild card teams.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara is always a risk to break a long game too, because like I said before, he just plays like Gumby.
Yeah.
He has such great balance, and guys just kind of just roll off of him, and it's just fun to watch. And he's so strong. His contact balance is fantastic.
True.
And you see it in all of his off-season workouts.
This is true. He does so much balance training. I've seen some of his like balance work and coordination work, and at the same time, he is just such a unique talent, and he's really one of those game breakers that you are just very blessed to have him. Any team would be lucky to have him.
It's really funny that he was never an RB1 in college at Alabama or Tennessee.
Who is he behind? Do you know?
At Bama, he was behind Derrick Henry.
That is fair. That one, that's fine.
DJ Yeldon. Like, that Alabama backfield used to be crazy loaded. Crazy loaded. But, hey, that's just what happens when you build a great culture. People just want to come. People want to come and be a part of it once you build a great culture, and that's really what Alabama's done, and that's really what a lot of teams are trying to do in the NFL.
True.
I think that part of the reason for the Bengals turnaround being so quick is they picked the right players to really establish a culture.
Yeah, and they got players that have like a previous rapport and experience together, so they kind of just made it work from every angle.
Yeah. And honestly, it helps when you draft a guy who's played with your quarterback in college. I really would like to see if somehow that wide receiver Christian Watson, I believe his name is.
Yeah, Christian Watson.
North Dakota State lands to the 49ers somehow in the later part into the middle of the draft. Just because I would love to see him and Trey Lance reunite again.
Yeah.
And also, there's a need. The 49ers don't have a legitimate deep threat.
True. Well, Debo's always going to be a deep threat, but
Debo and Ayuk can do it, but that's not.
Oh my God, I forgot about Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk can
Oh
can
my
do
God.
it too, but it's just you really. It'd be cool if they had a guy who that's his designated role.
Yeah.
Because there are 3 wide receivers with George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really good pass catching unit.
Fuck yeah, it is.
It's really good. And that offensive line is good that he's walking into. He has the best left tackle in the NFL.
Dude,
Trent Williams.
that's crazy. I forgot he existed.
I mean, Kyle Shanahan did for the beginning parts of last season, too. It's great. I had him on my fantasy team. Name twin didn't do shit till the end of the year. It was great.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes, you know?
It's really funny because I think he still hit around his projection, too, because he had some random games at the end of the year where he went off.
Yeah. But that didn't matter because both you and I were in the losing bracket in my own league.
Yes. Yes, we were.
Oh, man.
But on that note, speaking about drafts, everybody, thank you for coming to our first YouTube. Come back for part 2. We're going to be talking about some more NFL teams. We're going to be talking about draft, and we're going to be doing our own mock draft, me and Brett.
And we will also be talking about potential landing spots for Cam Newton and maybe Colin Kaepernick if he's ever going to get a second try in the NFL. I would love to see it. We would all love to see it. There's no reason that Cap shouldn't at least get a workout, you know? He was named, some good news from today, he was named the honorary captain for the Michigan football team's spring...
Yeah, for their blue and gold game.
Yep.
Blue and maize game, I think is what they actually call it, something like that.
And he was doing workouts with some of the guys today, and, well, I don't know if it was today, but I saw the footage today, and he looked fucking fantastic. He was effortless. Like, they were just throwing him balls and just back to back to back. He was just fucking one-handing them and sending them. I was like, okay, Cap, go fucking play for the Seahawks. If Pete Carroll will take you, let's go.
Let's go. So,
Jeez.
Next episode, we'll be talking some Cam Newton, talking some Kaepernick, talking some Stephon Gilmore, maybe some Calais Campbell if he isn't signed somewhere yet. We're talking about free agents where they can land. We're going to be doing draft. It's going to be great. Please come and view it.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for tuning in. We appreciate you a lot. You like that?
Yeah.
You like that?
Love you guys. Have a good one.